So kind
I'm helping him out.
hey, so Rolly's kind of the one who won in this
He just
deal.
he got lucky.
Yeah, Rolly's always somehow finds a way.
Rolly Polly, he just rolls it.
Don't try too much. Rolly's gonna give you everything you want. So kind of just gonna let the fight come to me, and then I'm gonna take over. I'm a better fighter all around. So I feel like
Ryan Garcia, with his 12 million followers on Instagram and another 1 million on X, is in a prime position to shake up the boxing world. He has the fan base, the looks, and the power, and he hasn't hesitated to use them. Recently, he's been taking shots at Rolly Romero, warning him of a potential early knockout during their latest press conference. Garcia is sticking to what he does best, trying to intimidate his opponent. However, if there's one fighter completely unfazed by Ryan's cold threats, it's Rolly.
I see that's the most tension. Is there real beef there, or is it just you want to get ahead and you see him as a guy that you sparred a lot and you feel you should be in that position?
No, I want to chop that kid's head off.
Just recently, Ryan Garcia made it clear that he doesn't even consider Rolly Romero a worthy opponent, admitting that his real focus is on a rematch with Devin Haney. "I'm really focused on whooping Devin Haney again," Garcia stated. "That's all I'm really worried about, not even to redeem myself, just to put an end to that Osterine nonsense, which he probably set up." However, Rolly doesn't seem to mind, that Garcia's attention is elsewhere.
Rolly, he just said he's looking past you to fight Devin Haney. Does this concern you at all?
I think Devin should get the fight again.
But he said he's not even worried about you. He's not even thinking about you. He's looking forward to that fight. You're just going to be a bump in the road.
He can think whatever he wants. He knows me too well.
How easy is it going to be? How long will Rolly last with you in a ring?
About 2 seconds. Nah, he's gonna come to fight. I'm not taking the blame or anything like that. I'm still gonna try my best, but everybody really wants to see the rematch, and that's where my heart's at. So
Ryan Garcia has certainly had his share of troubles. There's no doubt about that. Last year, things got so bad that he parted ways with his longtime manager, Guadalupe Valencia, for 3 months. Valencia had been by his side for 7 years, but now they're back together, and according to him, Garcia has made serious progress. Everyone around him, his family, his friends, everyone who knows and loves him, was really concerned and worried about him, Valencia admitted. "I can't pinpoint the exact time, but at some point it became a very difficult period for him. Yeah, I was worried. But in the 7 years I've been with Ryan, I always believed he would come back." This sentiment has been echoed by Garcia's father ever since the fight was announced.
Not want to mess around with that. When you're doing tequila, when you're smoking, you're doing shrooms, don't do that, because the mind is very sensitive, fragile. It's fragile, especially, they say liquor is bad for you, and if you continue doing it, it gets worse. But if you're doing that and you're doing, and then you're doing shrooms. Thank you. Oh, it's a recipe for disaster. And that's exactly what happened. And I just thank God that look at him now. Doesn't he look better?
Yeah, definitely.
Of course. No,
he looks different.
It's better. It's beautiful. I love it.
Henry, when did you notice that Ryan needed real help in order to the way he sees right now, in order that he became clean?
Well, I noticed that when he was talking, the way he was doing his videos, and he never posts that many times.
Ryan Garcia is undoubtedly a star, but he's not walking among the legends just yet. He's not on the level of Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo Alvarez, Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, or Oscar De La Hoya. There's still work to be done. He needs to build his legacy. And the best way to do that? Delivering highlight reel knockouts. That's what sells in boxing. That's what makes you a megastar. Rolly Romero is the next name on Garcia's hit list. And by the way Ryan's talking, it sounds like he already considers the job done.
I put Rolly to sleep with the left hook. That's it. That's what you're gonna see. Period.
If Garcia delivers on his promise, if Romero ends up laid out on the canvas, unconscious, while Garcia climbs the ropes and celebrates with the crowd at Times Square, then yes, a new star will be born. He has the tools, but now is the time to put everything together. He can't just rely on natural talent. He needs to prove he's disciplined, focused, and ready to take over. Tank is a big star, but he's not as big of a star, in my opinion, as Ryan, Valencia said. Ryan can be the biggest star in boxing, the face of the entire sport. He has the potential to be like Floyd and Oscar. The skills are there. He's got the charm and the story. I think he's the next pay-per-view star and the next face of boxing. But even though Ryan has improved mentally and seems to be in a much better place, Rolly still couldn't resist taking a few shots at him.
Is a tremendous fighter. He's a tremendous fighter. The only people he cannot beat happens to be myself, Gervonta Davis, and depression.
Saying Ryan Garcia could become the next big star is a bold claim, but it's not crazy. He has the potential, but potential means nothing unless you maximize it. His biggest challenge isn't a puncher with knockout power or a defensive wizard who makes fights ugly. His biggest challenge is himself. Mental battles are real, they can make or break a fighter. And for Ryan, it's a fight he needs to win. It's a fight he has to win. Just like fights are won round by round, Garcia has to take his mental health day by day. He's on the verge of something huge, but the pressure is only going to get bigger. That's the final chapter he has yet to write.
But it's gonna get real ugly out there, like ugly. I'm not looking to fight or box. I'm looking to fight.
Okay.
At a recent promotional event, Ryan Garcia didn't hold back when discussing his true intentions regarding Rolly Romero as an opponent. He was not my first choice, it was Pitbull Cruz, but things played out differently, Garcia admitted. I'm really focused on whooping Devin Haney again. That's all I'm really worried about, not even to redeem myself, just to put an end to that Osterine nonsense, which he probably set up. However, Garcia isn't completely overlooking Romero.
Who would you say is another good trash talker in boxing?
Right now, man, really, I mean, just that retarded-ass fool Rolly, to be honest. Rolly right now probably runs his mouth the most, but he can't back it up. There's a difference between me and him. I talk a lot of trash, but I've been backing up everything I've been saying so far. But probably Rolly.
What do you think of his fight with Ryan that's been announced? They're fighting in May in Times Square, New York City.
I think that's a better fight for Ryan, publicity-wise, than Isak Cruz. And I think it's going to be a good fight, man. I think Ryan's going to knock him out, but the whole build-up to that fight, I think they're definitely going to be able to sell a lot, just because they both got a unique...
He's making sure he's prepared even if his mind is still locked on Haney. Garcia is training to face the best version of Romero possible, though he doesn't believe it'll be enough to keep Rolly standing. I'm still going to train my best, but everybody wants to see the rematch, and that's where my heart is at. So I've just got to prepare well. I know I'm the better fighter, and I'm going to knock him out, Garcia said. And true. To his word, he's putting in the work back at his camp.
Yeah, you got the best left. The best left in the world. I'm gonna stop.
Romero isn't buying into the Garcia hype. He's firing right back, questioning whether Garcia even takes boxing seriously. According to Rolly, Ryan is too distracted by his other interests. And he's not entirely wrong. Garcia has yet to win a legitimate world title, and in boxing, that matters. It's what separates the greats from the guys who just make headlines. Being famous doesn't make you a champion, delivering in the ring does. Garcia has the power, the skills, and the following. But is that enough?
You said earlier today when you're talking to the Ring magazine that Ryan Garcia is not chasing championships. He's basically just wants to be a model. What did you mean by that?
Well, he didn't make weight for his last 4 title fights, and he didn't even try to make weight with Tank, so... Yeah,
Rolando Rolly. Romero isn't worried about all the noise surrounding Ryan Garcia's rematch with Devin Haney. He knows what's being said, and he's well aware that Turki Alalshikh has already planned for Garcia to fight Haney in October. But to Rolly, that's just talk. It doesn't change what's going to happen on May 2nd in Times Square. He's stepping into that ring with full confidence, ready to ruin whatever plans they have. They can rematch after me, Rolly said. I'll beat the mess out of Ryan, and they can go ahead and do whatever they want after that.
Rolly, he just said he's looking past you to fight Devin Haney. That doesn't concern you at all?
I think Devin should get the fight again.
But he said he's not even worried about you. He's not even thinking about you. He's looking forward to that fight, that you're just going to be a bump in the road.
He's not even slightly bothered by the fact that people are looking past him. In fact, he finds it funny. In his mind, this is exactly what happened when he fought Ismael Barroso. Everyone counted him out. And look how that ended. Rolly believes Garcia is just another guy with hype and a big name, but when it comes to real fights, he doesn't see much substance. To Rolly, Garcia is a social media-made fighter, a guy who talks a big game, makes big promises, and puts on a show. But when it comes time to prove something in the ring, he's missing something.
What's the game plan to beat Ryan Garcia?
I already got a game plan. I didn't have one when I whooped his ass, so...
Are you talking about in sparring?
Yeah.
How many years ago was that?
8.
And you think that's relevant to this fight? You think you learned something back then you can take forward to this fight?
Nah, I wasn't really trying to learn that day.
He saw how Garcia crumbled against Gervonta Davis, and he doesn't believe much has changed even though Garcia beat Haney in April. Rolly isn't impressed. He thinks Haney was weight drained, and Garcia's win doesn't mean as much as people claim. As for all the talk about Garcia fighting Haney again, Rolly just shrugs it off. In his eyes, it's pointless because Garcia won't even make it to October. The way Rolly sees it, this whole fight is being treated like a stepping stone for Garcia, but he's about to flip the script. He's been training harder than ever, and he knows people are sleeping on him. He acknowledges Garcia's speed and power, but he doesn't care. To Rolly, Garcia is too reckless, too emotional, and way too easy to bait into mistakes. And when that happens, Rolly plans to land his own shots and make Garcia pay.
I ain't gonna lie, Rolly had like, people be sleeping on Rolly because he been obviously, I don't know how to say it, obviously. But yeah, if he don't got no chin now, so Rolly be getting caught, but Rolly can hit, bro. Like, he can hit. He's the only person I felt like when he swung, it felt like bricks was in his gloves.
Is that the hardest one? Is that the hardest one you faced throughout your whole career? Is that the hardest one?
Who else I sparred that was like that was Danny Garcia. I sparred Danny Garcia, and that guy, he can hit. Danny, what? He Puerto Rican, huh? Yeah.
What's even funnier to Rolly is that Garcia isn't even fully focused on this fight. He keeps talking about Haney, and in Rolly's mind, that's a big mistake. Garcia is looking ahead when he should be focused on what's right in front of him. And if there's one thing Rolly thrives on, it's taking advantage of people who underestimate him. "I'm not interested. I don't care," Rolly said when asked if he'd fight Haney next if he beats Garcia. But let's be real, if Turkey Al-Alshik offers the right money, Rolly wouldn't hesitate. He knows the game. He knows boxing is just as much about business as it is about skill, and if the opportunity comes, he'll take it.
Devin Haney, but it feels like there's a grudge between you and Rolly Romero here, and I seem to remember years ago when you guys were prospects at lightweight. You might have been at junior lightweight at the time, as a matter of fact. There was a lot of talk about a sparring session, and there was John going back years ago between you two. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I think we sparred about 8 years ago. It was a little rough sparring, I guess, but we continue to use that sparring to, kind of boost up his career, credit to his point. But I don't have no bad blood to him. I'm here to, do my job and, set up that rematch, but I'm not overlooking him at all. I know that he's gonna come to fight. It's a big opportunity on the main stage, so I got...
For now, though, Rolly is focused on one thing shutting Ryan Garcia down. All the Instagram followers, the flashy outfits, the viral moments, none of that will matter once the bell rings. Rolly is coming to fight, and he's convinced that when it's over, people will be talking about him, not Ryan Garcia. Rolando Rolly Romero isn't buying into the Ryan Garcia hype. He sees right through it. The way he talks about this fight, it's like he's already cracked the code. He doesn't care about the noise, the social media buzz, or the media frenzy surrounding Garcia. To him, Ryan is just another guy being handed opportunities he hasn't truly earned.
Yeah, Rolly Romero, we might have got him all wrong as far as somebody that could sell a fight. The first promotion with him and Tank, it might have been all Tank. Because ever since that fight, he's been absolutely trash.
And when it comes to Garcia's confidence, Rolly finds it laughable. He's heard all of Garcia's claims, how he wasn't even the first choice, how this fight wasn't what he really wanted, how his focus is still on Devin Haney. But to Rolly, that's nothing but excuses. In his mind, Garcia already has one. Foot out the door, and that's a mistake. You can't be thinking about another fight when you've got me in front of you, Rolly said. That's how you get hurt. Romero doesn't believe Garcia is fully locked in. He sees the distractions, the constant talk about the Osterine controversy, the social media antics, and to him, that's the difference between them. Rolly doesn't care about any of that. He's a fighter first. He's coming to fight, period.
Think Ryan cleans up Rolly?
I do.
Think he wants to fight? Yeah,
I think for both fighters obviously the common opponent right there. I think that both fighters, obviously Ryan just fought Tank. Yeah. I think he'll be better since fighting Tank. Yeah. And then the same thing with Rolly. I think Rolly became better from fighting Tank. I think that they knew certain mistakes that they made. I think they believed in their game plan. Got us all to believe in their game plan. I think they came to this fight with the right adjustments, but took it too far, I guess, for the sake of words. But I think that they'll both be better.
Yeah.
In their fight against one another, I don't know how to.
They're both super raw.
Yeah.
I think Ryan got more talent.
Garcia says he's putting Rolly to sleep with a left hook. Rolly just shrugs it off like it's nothing. He's seen that left hook before. He knows what's coming, and he knows how to avoid it. You move out of the way, he said, as if it's the simplest thing in the world. And maybe to Rolly, it is. But it's not just about avoiding shots. Rolly believes he's going to dictate this fight. He thinks Garcia has a weak foundation, both mentally and physically. And he's not just talking about the weight issues or the missed title shots, though he made sure to take a jab at that too. He's talking about Garcia's entire mentality. In Rolly's eyes, Garcia folds under pressure. He saw it happen against Gervonta Davis, and he fully expects it to happen again on May 2nd. And then there's the sparring history. Garcia might be confident now, but Rolly remembers what happened when they trained together years ago. Back then, he didn't even have a game plan, and in his mind, he still dominated. That's why he isn't worried about Garcia looking past him. He knows me too well, Rolly said. And there's something in the way he says it that makes it clear he thinks Garcia remembers those rounds. Deep down, he believes Ryan knows what's coming. While Garcia is talking about Haney, Rolly is locked in on one thing, proving everybody wrong. He knows most people don't expect him to win. He knows the betting odds favor Garcia, but that just fuels him even more. Every time people count him out, he finds a way to turn the tables. And this time, he believes it'll be no different. In Rolly's mind, Garcia's biggest weakness is his focus. Fighters who start thinking about their next fight before they even step in the ring usually don't last long. And if Ryan truly thinks he's going to breeze through Rolly to set up another Haney rematch, Rolly plans on waking him up to reality the hard way. He's also not buying into Oscar De La Hoya's prediction. He's heard all the talk Ryan, Garcia knocking him out, how this is just a warm-up fight before a Haney rematch, how boxing supposedly needs Ryan to bring life to the sport. To Rolly, it's all just noise. He's not here to be anyone's stepping stone. And he's definitely not here to play the role of a tune-up opponent.
Okay. All right. You fought twice in 2024. You were pretty active. You had the loss to Isaac Cruz, but you came back against Manuel Jaimes. Ryan obviously only had one, and he's been out the ring since the whole suspension with the Haney situation. How do you feel about him having that time off and you still being somewhat more active than he was? Do you feel like that's an advantage?
At this level, nobody's truly active like that. This level, if you fight twice a year, you're golden. It's been a year for him, but he had a busy last year before that. So
They keep talking like I'm just here to get Ryan ready for Haney, Rolly said, shaking his head. Man, they got it all wrong. I'm coming to take him out. Rolly has been overlooked before, and he's made a career out of proving people wrong. The way he sees it, Garcia's team is already making excuses, talking about getting the rust off and sharpening up before his next big fight. But what happens when Garcia doesn't make it past May 2? What happens when the so-called warm-up turns into a full-on disaster? Rolly believes he has the answer. Ryan ain't got no heart for this, he said. He's talking about Haney, talking about Tank, talking about everything, except the fight in front of him. That's why he's gonna get clipped.
Putting Ryan on there is kind of smart, that's right there. But then it's a solid match. Listen, Rolly and Ryan's an interesting fight because Rolly's hit or miss, bro. Rolly sometimes looks like where'd you find this guy off the corner, but sometimes he performs. There's a sparring session with Ryan and Rolly on YouTube where it looks like Rolly's doing pretty well in there. I'm curious about that fight. Rolly's back against the wall. He's got to perform. Everybody's curious about Ryan coming back. You got Devin Haney on the undercard against Ramirez. He's in court with Ryan. What happens if they cross paths at the weigh-in, even though they're not fighting each other? Solid.
And Rolly isn't alone in that mindset. While De La Hoya is hyping up Ryan's return, plenty of voices in the boxing world are questioning whether Garcia is truly ready for this moment 13 months out of the ring. Legal battles, social media distractions, weight issues. Rolly sees all of it as a sign of weakness. He knows what kind of fighter Garcia is, and he knows how to break him. They're acting like I'm just here to give him rounds, Rolly said with a smirk. Man, I don't give nobody rounds. I take them out. And Rolly's confidence isn't just based on trash talk, it's based on experience. He remembers the sparring sessions with Garcia years ago. He remembers the mistakes Garcia made, the openings he left. He remembers the feeling of control. And that's why he isn't sweating Garcia's left hook.
Well, I think the main event's the main event, right? Ryan's amazing. Ryan's a great guy. He's amazing. I like that he stands up for himself. He's not afraid to say what he thinks. And he's got a pretty fast left hook also. So I really want... I probably wouldn't box a fighter. I'd box someone I don't like. But let me bust my cases and I'll answer that question.
He keeps talking about putting me to sleep with a left hook, Rolly said. Man, I've been hearing that forever. All you gotta do is move out of the way. But while Rolly is confident about his own chances, there's one thing he's not so sure about: what version of Ryan Garcia is actually going to show up. The Ryan Garcia who fought Devin Haney, that guy was dangerous, fast, explosive, and fearless. But the Ryan Garcia who fought Tank Davis, the one who got stopped with a body shot, Rolly doesn't see that version surviving in the ring with him. I hope he brings that same energy he had with Haney, Rolly said. Because if he brings that scared version of himself from the Tank fight, it's gonna be a short night. De La Hoya, of course, is pushing a different narrative. He's fully behind Garcia, calling him the lifeblood of boxing, predicting a knockout, and even taking shots at Haney. De La Hoya is convinced Haney is damaged goods after the Garcia knockout, and that Jose Ramirez will expose his so-called glass jaw on the same night Garcia fights Rolly. Rolly, on the other hand, couldn't care less about Haney or Ramirez. His focus is on one thing: shutting Garcia up. I don't care about no Haney fight, Rolly said. Ryan ain't making it past me. And if that happens, all the talk about Garcia being the face of boxing, all the hype about his comeback, all the grand plans for his future, it all goes out the window.
Brian, obviously the boxing world, they just want the Haney rematch so it could be settled once and for all. What is your message? Obviously, you guys are going through the lawsuit right now, but if you and Devin can run it back again, under what terms would it be?
Run it back the same way, just a little higher weight class.
Rolly isn't just fighting to win, he's fighting to rewrite the story. If he gets his way, the headlines won't be about Garcia's triumphant return. They'll be about how Rolly Romero derailed the entire show. What do you think? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more.